Hey guys, welcome to Quinian's Budget Crafts. So this here is the church area of the castle, the two floors here, so I just glued the front face of it on so it stays together. I'm going to put a big stained glass window in there. I was messing around with my logo in Blender, trying to get a stained glass window thing out of the logo. It really wouldn't print right. I got it to print solid, but I don't like that. So I did some weird stuff with the mirrors and got this double dragon heart thing. It's pretty cool looking, and it's hollow, so you get the stained glass effect through it. So we're going to go with that. If you've been following along, you'll remember that the actual bottom floor, the bottom row of bricks, is attached to the floor. So this is the section that comes off. So I'll put the stained glass window to the bottom, and then I can trace around it to cut that out. That'll actually have the window sitting on the bottom row of bricks. For the straight line section, you can just put a ruler up against the wall and follow that down. For the curved section, you got to use a smaller blade. And be careful not to cut yourself. If you don't manage to cut it out just perfect, don't worry about it. You can file that out. And we're going to be framing this with some little stones to make it look like, the whole thing was framed out. So it'll hide any kind of imperfections. There you go. It should sit something like that. For these two smaller sections, I'm just going to do round windows. I have some wood here with circles cut in it. It came from some kind of model kit or something, but it's the perfect size for doing this. Same idea, just hold it up there and trace it out. Then you can go back through with an X-Acto knife and cut the hole. Again, these don't need to be absolutely perfect because we're going to put framing around it, but you just want it close enough so that your actual piece of plastic for the glass will fit in there properly. So I'm going to borrow and modify something I picked up from Wylock over at Wylock's Armory. Link up in the top right. Take yourself a piece of plastic. Doesn't really matter what kind as long as it's clear. I'm going to cut this to fit inside the window frame. That way it's up against the design there in the middle. And I also cut out a little block of XPS foam to shove into the back of it there so it'll stay while I'm trying to draw on it. So stained glass windows are made up of a whole bunch of small pieces of glass, and they're all held together with like a lead wire, I don't know what it's called exactly. You could pattern this to some sort of geometric shape or make a picture out of it or just make it whatever. I'm going for the whatever look. Basically as if the designer had a bunch of random sheets of glass and had to put the wiring to hold it all together. So I've seen this done with a black Sharpie, and that's okay, but some light will pass through that. So I'm using the paint marker to do this because no light's going to pass through that and it'll get the nice crisp lines where the lead lines are. Then you just take your colored Sharpies and start coloring it in. Unless you're going for some sort of, picture with the pieces or some kind of theme or something like that, you don't really have to be too exact as to what colors you use where. Just try to space them out pretty good. After you get to a certain point where you're pretty sure you know where most of them are going to go, you can go ahead and pop your glass out and finish coloring on it. I wasn't able to get the Sharpies all the way through that design, it's just too tight in some areas. So I kind of put it up there, put a few dots, more or less kind of where some of the areas are, so I had a basic idea. And then just went back through with the silver marker and made some more lines. It didn't really have to be perfect. Once you've got all your lines down and your areas blocked out, go ahead and fill the whole thing in. If you color a little outside the lines, that's okay, because we'll just go back through with the silver marker and clean that up. Then we can pop it in there and see what it's going to look like. For the design in the middle, I'm just going to spray paint that with some metallic silver and then go back and color the frame with wood colors. For the frame, I tried to base coat it with some nutmeg. It didn't really work out very well, so I decided to just go ahead and use the marker instead. It does a more solid coverage. You can get a little bit of excess marker paint on there and then spread it around with a brush. Just want to point something out real quick. These markers say that they're water-based, but whatever paint is in them will ruin a brush in a hurry. So in order to prevent your brush from getting all gummed up and gross and ruined, Dip it in some isopropyl alcohol first. That will help you to spread the paint out and not ruin your brush in the process. Well, we can go ahead and pop that stained glass in there and have a look and see what that looks like. Yeah, it's pretty good. For the round ones, it's the same idea. Just use the same template to cut out a circle that'll go into the hole you cut in the foam. We'll frame that out, of course. Not going to use a big heavy plastic frame. Just foam blocks around it and stick it in. And that's what it looks like sitting in place. Yeah, it looks terrible right now. The walls are all messed up and so you get the idea. So I'm going to add a new thing to the end of my weekly videos. I'm going to do a video spotlight. Basically, if I find a video that I thought was particularly interesting or really good or something like that from a channel that has fewer subscribers than I do, I'll spotlight that one for the week. This week, the channel is Game On. From what I understand, it's actually a team of guys, but it's just the one dude narrating right now. He's doing a whole series on Curse of Strahd, why it's so good. Not only is the module actually really good, but so are the videos, so you should definitely go check that out. Link for that is up in the top right and in the description below. Of course, the whole thing, if you guys want to support the channel, you can do that over on Patreon, but of course, as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.